Good evening. I'm Adventure Argonaut, and this is the Golden News. So, before we begin looking at the news, I have to check that my streams are working. It's tedious work, but I still gotta do it because I would feel like a complete fool if I'm talking here and then none of the streams would work. Well, this presumably, at least one of them would work, but still. Anyways, let's see. So, Kick, Twitch, and Rumble seem to be functional. How about Parti? What's going on? Is the party on yet? It's not on. Let's. It sometimes takes a while. Okay, yes, now it seems to be working. Yeah, it says already like 16 viewers on Party. Is that real or is it like, I don't know, fake to make me feel better that somebody's actually watching me on that platform? But anyways, let's get to the first news story. So the first story is that the Pope died. Pope Francis or Bergoglio, however you wanna address him, he died yesterday, apparently, at the end of the Easter holiday, which is, I guess it means something. But let's have a look at some of the articles. So first, Pope Francis Dunn died at the age 88. Pigeon articles are great. How them they take elect a new pope? Yeah. Anyways, just had to read that because it was funny. And there's stuff like, okay, there's people um, pushing forward these people already that as potential candidates for the next pope. And I don't really I have no idea who is gonna be likely to be the next pope, and I think that applies to most of these people. Who I remember when Pope, was it, what was his name, John Paul or whatever, the predecessor to Benedict Ratzinger. I remember when he died, and then they were like, at least on Finnish media, they were talking like, oh, it's gonna be this guy or that guy, and this is what most likely going to be one of these guys, and then it was Ratzinger instead of any of the guys that the media was talking about. But yeah, and also like I don't know how accurate these are when somebody says, okay, this guy is a moderate, because like you can get that sort of stuff about Francis and everybody else. Like some say he was a moderate, but as far as I know, he was quite, let's say, progressive. And yeah, there's Cardinal. This guy says Cardinal Peter Turkson and Cardinal Luis Antonio Tegal are top contenders for in the Matic and to become next pope. Well, this guy's name is Peter. I guess it's this guy probably. So maybe he's going to be Petrus Romanus. But let's get to that later. And yeah, Vice President J.D. Vance just met the Pope a few hours before he died, apparently. So yeah, this post was made before the Pope was dead, or at least before his death was announced. So yeah, okay, they met on the 20th, apparently, and at least officially, the Pope died on the 21st. But it's like it would have been even more, I don't know, ironic or something, because the 20th was like it's the Sunday when Jesus supposedly rose from the dead, and also like April 20th is, well, it's a holy day for weed smokers, and also it's the birthday of the Austrian painter. So I guess it would have been, I don't know, ironic if he had died on that day, but at least officially he did not. Anyways, and yeah, Pope died 7 hours after this photo, this guy says. So yeah. And well, okay, he looks like he's got the Innsmouth look here already. So okay, like looking at this, like how do we know he's actually the Pope? Maybe he'd been dead for a few days already, and this could be some guy in some suit wearing his face or something. Like who knows? I don't know. And this was the last um, like a tweet from the Pope's Twitter account. Like I don't think the Pope himself wrote this or typed this message, but anyway, it says Christus resurrexit in hoc nuntio incliditur omnis existentae nostrae significatio, quae ad mortem non proficicitur, sed ad vitam. Okay, it's Latin. I don't really speak Latin, but I'm gonna try to translate it just for fun. So Christ was resurrected, and something in all of existence our most significant thing, I guess, or event in all of our existence. I don't know, beat death, maybe mortem. Yeah, I don't know. But I just because I remember when I bookmarked this, it still said the title said something like Pope Francis or whatever, but now it's Apostolicas sedes vacans, so now it says like the see is vacant because now there is no boy. Hey, Agent Double Hertz, our golden boy. Am I golden boy? No, I'm not golden because I'm always looking for the golden news and the golden fleece and all that stuff. But anyway, so yeah, I do think this is sort of interesting. Last tweet at least is appropriate, like because many, let's say, more traditional Catholics and non-Catholics, they weren't so fond of Pope Francis, but I think this was an appropriate last tweet, at least from his account. But yeah, some people are quite critical of Pope Francis already soon after he was dead, like Jared Saylor, the guy from American Renaissance, I think is the organization. Pope Francis traitorously promoted massive African and Muslim immigration into Europe. Also, he appointed no fewer than 109 of the 135 cardinal electors who will choose his successor. He passed over many conservative Europeans and chose cardinals from Rwanda, Cape Verde, Tonga, Myanmar, Mongolia, and South Sudan. Well, I think a Mongolian pope sounds badass. I support that. Anyways, my guess the next pope will be even worse. That's likely. Like I think people who seem to know more about this matter have been saying that it's unlikely, even though even if in secular politics, more let's say right wing or conservative politicians are gaining ground, but that probably isn't the case with the papacy yet. And here is foundering pointing out some of the stuff that the Pope said. Pope Francis denounces anti-vaxxers, calls COVID jab refusal an almost suicidal act of denial. Well, yeah, I can't deny that this is satanic. He is basically replacing Jesus with the vaccine here. If Pope Francis indeed did say something like this, because years before the pandemic happened, I sort of came to the conclusion that the this scientism, as was very well uh, you know demonstrated during the pandemic, this trust the science, trust the expert, is it is the new religion of the West basically, and it is a partially Christian heresy, like vaccines. Already before COVID vaccines or COVID was a thing, I sort of noticed the tendency, like the belief in some people that they, because back in the old days you'd go take communion and drink the blood of Christ and eat his body, so you are saved, but then it had been replaced by the vaccine. So yeah, this is like actually heretical basically, to be promoting vaccines to this in this, especially these COVID jabs that are, very were super the safest and most effective thing ever in the history of the world. And then there's Freeren apparently visited the Pope just before his death. So, in hindsight, because this was posted before his death was announced, I'm pretty sure. So anyway, perhaps, Pope wasn't a human. Maybe he was partially a demon. Who knows? And okay, then there's the prophecy of the popes, the prophecy of Saint Malachi and stuff. And first of all, I'm not saying I believe it, but I do find prophecies very interesting. And so yeah, let's yes, because it's very difficult. Like it's not, it's probably, you're able to find just, the prophecy without some article trying to explain to you how to interpret it. But like I asked Grok the AI to tell me, so okay, this is like the previous Pope Gloria Olive, the glory of the olive, supposedly referred to Benedict, and then the last Pope here is Petrus Romanus, Peter the Roman, and so he is interpreted to be the last Pope, and some people would have said that, um, if assuming that this prophecy is true and accurate and all that, they would have said that, Pope Francis was Peter the Roman, but it doesn't say make sense to me, since let's go down here. So there's the Saint Malachi. He added this, um, addendum to Petrus Romanus. In the final persecution of the Holy Roman Church, there will sit Peter the Roman, who will pasture his sheep in many tribulations, and when these things are finished, the city of seven hills will be destroyed, and a dreadful judge will judge his people. The end. So at least, I heard about this prophecy, like, maybe when, like, maybe 10 years ago or something, when, or when, Pope Francis became Pope, or at least allegedly. There are some people that, some Catholics even, that suggest that maybe he even wasn't a true Pope, that he was an anti-Pope, but I wouldn't be able to, like, make any judgment on the matter myself. But except like this, so yeah, because here it seems to me that, Peter the Roman, that he's like a, good guy, a devout Catholic basically. And but then again, like, if it's true, like, if he's the last pope, and the Catholic Church will be ruined and Rome will be destroyed, because city of seven hills. So maybe he's not a good guy. But anyways, like, uh, like, one possible interpretation is that, maybe Pope Francis was an anti-pope, so he's not mentioned in this prophecy, and then the next pope will be Petrus Romanus, who is that guy. But then again, there's two guys, like, this Tom Horn and Chris Putnam. They're making, they have their own theories about the Petrus Romanus, and I don't know if there's others, like, recently have like different interpretations. But anyways, they're sort of saying that, Peter the Roman is like the, yeah, false prophet, and is gonna herald in the Antichrist. So then maybe, that could have been a Pope Francis. I don't know. Well, whatever. I just wanted to mention it because it's interesting, and it maybe it's relevant. We're gonna see what's gonna happen, or maybe it's just gonna be a new pope, and it doesn't match Petrus Romanus at all. And maybe, and this, most likely, this is, this prophecy is just made up, because supposedly the guy lived like, 1000 or 1100 AD, but the prophecy was discovered like in the 15th century or something, so like 400 years later. Anyways, let's have a look. What else do we have? And this is just, some, um, mass or something from Spain from the Easter stuff. It's not related to the Pope directly, but I just think it looks cool. Like, you can see where, Warhammer 40K, where it took its influence and stuff, and why, people like it, because this looks cool. And then the last thing about popes is that, many people might not know, but, Julius Caesar, there's Julius Caesar. I'd argue that he's the most famous European who has ever lived. Anyways, he also was a pope. Of course, it was Pontifex Maximus, so that was before Christianity. But like, that's also supposed to say something about the office of the Pope, that it's predates Christianity. But let's just Pontifex Maximus. So yeah, here it says Pontifex Maximus. So he was that for 20 years. Where? So yeah, so he was a pontifex, like a priest of some sort, and in 62 BC, Caesar stood for the praetorship and also opposed for Pontifex Maximus, who was the head of the College of Pontiffs and the highest ranking state religious official. In the pontifical election before the tribes, Caesar faced two influential senators, Quintus Lutatius Catulus and Publius Servilius Isauricus, and blah blah blah. But anyways, like, you very rarely see people talk about it, or like, some people might mention that, oh, by the way, he was also Pontifex Maximus. But it's like, so how, like, did people look at, like, did people back in the day look at him with the same kind of reverence as, Catholics might look at the Pope nowadays? Like, how respected was he as a, because he wasn't simply you know a pope. He was also a consul and a, general and all that stuff. So I don't know. I just think it's very fascinating, and it's like, I wonder if there's like any, books dedicated just to his accomplishments as the pope, and all that stuff. But anyways, let's move on to actual news. That's not news. That's history. So okay, Trump administration promotes COVID lab leak theory on the official website whitehouse.gov. So yeah, so go to covid.gov lab leak, and this guy 5 times August. Is it the leftist who is just I don't know who this guy is, but and so what's the point of this? Like, I think that's a good question. Like, okay, where is this heading? Because this is the website. So lab leak: the true origins of COVID-19. The proximal origin of SARS-CoV-2 publication, which was used repeatedly by public health officials and the media to discredit the lab leak theory, was prompted by Dr. Fauci to push the preferred narrative of COVID-19 originated naturally, blah blah. Virus possesses a biological characteristic that is not found in nature. Data shows that all COVID-19 cases stem from a single introduction into humans. This runs contrary to previous pandemics where there were multiple spillover events. Wuhan is home to China's foremost SARS research lab, which has history of conducting gain-of-function research, gene-altering organisms, supercharging inadequate biosafety levels. Wuhan Institute of Virology researchers were sick with COVID-like symptoms in the fall of 2019, blah, blah, blah. So yeah, does this mention, like, wasn't Fauci and was it Dash? Yeah, Peter Daszak. Yeah, they were also, like, in cahoots with the Wuhan lab to doing gain of function research and stuff. But I'm still, wondering, like, how do we know that COVID 19 virus actually exists? No, I'm not saying it doesn't or didn't exist, but I'm just asking because, like, wasn't it that, curiously, like, the flu seemed to disappear for a time when, COVID came around and stuff. And personally, I didn't see COVID be that dangerous and stuff. So it is a bit questionable, like how much um, you know how novel of a virus was it, if it even was a virus. And these are the things that people don't usually want to talk about, because it's like you get labeled this and that. But back in the day you would also get labeled this and that for talking about the lab leak theory, and where you would get censored on YouTube and all that stuff. So it's like, are we just supposed to take this as gospel? And also, okay, but what's the purpose of Trump doing this? Like, is he gonna force, if he is accusing that China and Fauci are responsible for the virus and stuff, is he gonna make them pay, make them punish them in some manner, or what? Like, of course, there is the tariff war already with China, so maybe that is part of his agenda. Like, maybe this is true information. I'm not saying it's not, but I'm still a bit incredulous that this is like a alternative, sort of a better um, false narrative from the from the very totalitarian or and Orwellian methods of the pandemic, that how they used to corral us during that time. And yeah, here's Foundering saying COVID is fake and gay. In January 2020, I gave my most important warning. I said coronavirus was a hoax, wet market was the scam for normies, and the lab leak was for conspiracy theories. Neither are true. They need this lie to hide that COVID was government democide. So I'm not saying I agree with this guy, but I do think that, this is one viewpoint that should be taken seriously. Like, perhaps he is right. I don't know. But let's move on to the next bit. So yeah, then I have some other stuff relating to Trump's tariffs and his. Oh yeah, I forgot this one. So yeah, because I reported sometime last year that a Dutch official, some woman, claimed that COVID was a NATO operation, but now there's this Reuters article saying that it's fake news, that she was misquoted and stuff. And okay, I don't know if she actually said that or meant that, or whether this is this is a fact check. Whenever I see the words fact check, I will get super suspicious. But anyways, so let's get back to the tariffs and other stuff, other Trump policies. So yeah, Trump declares piracy non-tariff cheating. So non-tariff cheating, currency manipulation, VATs, which act as tariffs, and export subsidies below, dumping below cost, export subsidies and other government subsidies, protective agriculture standards. No example, no genetically engineered corn in EU. So wait, is this bad thing? No genetically engineered. Is he saying that genetically engineered corn is good? Because I would, if I was the king of the world, I would ban genetically engineered, well, plants. Like, I think they have potential. Like, I can't help but think of like the Terminator seeds. Like, they're making seeds for plants. Like, normally you have some sort of plants that are edible, and they produce both fruit and seeds. But these many genetically engineered plants only they produce the fruits that you can eat, but no seeds. So you have to buy the seeds each year from the supplier, which is of course insanely evil. There is no good reason for it, except to exploit you monetarily, and also to play Frankenstein. But anyways, so protective technical standards and counterfeiting, piracy, and IP theft. So yeah, and he's talking about China pirating American developed software. Then maybe, I don't know. I think America has been fighting against piracy quite effectively for many years now, because many of the software isn't so good. Same goes for the Hollywood movies and stuff. They sort of suck nowadays, so many people don't want to pirate them. But I don't know, like getting complaining about piracy just seems like, of course, it's just one word here among others, but it's it always bothers me when people start complaining about piracy, because it's, unless you mean like actual piracy, like on the sea with actual pirates. But anyways, so yeah, there's this guy pointing out that US aid gets defunded, fortune goes down. Of course, like, you know it's like how many is it, like months, 2 months ago, when the USA got defunded. So many other organizations collapsed soon after that. And fortune, it took 2 months for it to collapse. So it's probably just a coincidence, but maybe not. And last I checked, a few hours ago, just today, the fortune was still down. Like, they did say that it's gonna get up eventually, but I guess they have to rewrite a lot of code and stuff, after the hack. Since I reported last week that it was hacked, and lots of the moderator Chinese information was leaked, and the source code and shit like that. But yeah, I haven't really heard many like interesting revelations since then. Like, is there really something volatile, something like more evidence pointing to that US aid or US government or any other governments possibly money having controlled 4chan in one way or another. Anyways, President Trump reportedly rejected Israel's plans to strike Iranian nuclear sites as soon as next month in favor of diplomacy and peace. Well, this is good news if this is true. It just says reportedly, but I do, two thumbs up for this one if this is true. Yeah, I don't want. Well, I don't particularly want anybody to go to war with Iran, because why would I? Well, how would it benefit anyone except Israel, basically? And White House has told UK Prime Minister Starmer that he must repeal hate speech laws to get a beneficial trade deal with the US. I do like Trump's face. Yeah, this guy's like, oh fuck. Yeah, this is also a good thing, you know. Yeah, he should be pushing these authoritarian, well, no, totalitarian regimes to be less totalitarian. I do appreciate that. And there's this thing. So this is from White House, some speech or something. So yeah, is it from this guy, director Michael Kratsios? The golden age of American innovation is on our horizon if we choose it. Today we share the Trump administration's technology policy agenda. And yeah, so here it says, our technologies permit us to manipulate time and space. They leave distance annihilated, cause things to grow and improve productivity. So okay, it doesn't mean that they actually have like warp speed, warp engines like in Star Trek, or time machines, or is it sort of poetic language, or embellishment or something? It just means that now that we have compared to the past, when the only means of travel people had were ships and horse and buggy, but now we have aeroplanes and jets and all sorts of bullet trains, stuff like that, that they allow us to manipulate time and space. Is does that what it means? Or like computers basically can do complex tasks in a few seconds that would take a human being much longer? I don't know. this is a very interesting thing to say. And yeah, the owner of Fortune said it's coming back up later. So yeah, Hiroyuki here is saying, yeah. So we'll see. And and this, I'm not sure if this is new, actual fact or not. But due to withdrawal of UF support and the inability to secure new funding, the HWO is reportedly truly on the brink of collapse. If this is true, is great news, and I'm truly happy about it. But still, as far as I know, it's only a rumor right now. What do we have here? Okay, this isn't really Trump related, but I didn't want to make it into its own segment. So Ashley St. Clair revealed that to the Wall Street Journal, I think, yeah, that Elon Musk didn't want their child circumcised, complained about third world birth rates surpassing European birth rates, and that Musk wanted to raise a legion of children. So, is this like a um, has she been paid by Musk to make him, promote him to make him seem cool, or I don't know, or is she really so out of the loop and she's trying to, besmirch his name by saying these things? Not sure, but hey, he's certainly like, why would you want to get your child circumcised? It doesn't make any sense, like rationally speaking. Okay, but let's move on to the next story. So yeah, Klaus Schwab resigned. I reported like a couple of weeks ago that he was going to resign, so this isn't that surprise. Except I think he said that maybe next year or in even 2027 or something. But suddenly he's stepping down. So World Economic Forum says founder Klaus Schwab, 87, steps down from board. So yeah, he's 1 year younger than the Pope. But it's not. I also said that it's not such great news because they're just gonna find somebody equally despicable to take his place. Um, so yeah, blah, 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 he's resigning. Do I have the story here? Okay, I don't. Okay, I forgot to add, but there was what was there was some like really evil corporate CEO who was supposedly gonna take his place. Damn it, I forgot who was he or what organization he works for, but some CEO who basically sees humans as cattle to be corralled around and stuff. But yeah, whatever. We'll see how this develops. But some people have pointed out that it's curious that the timing that just after the Pope's death was announced, that then he's announced his resignation as well. But I'm not saying there's any uh, correlation between these things, but some people seem to be hinting there might be. But we'll see. And for once, UK is doing something good. So trans women, not women in the UK, the courts decided. And I do like the image that the AI generated for me. So UK Supreme Court has ruled that trans women are not women and womanhood is assigned at birth. So yeah, it's shocking. The court is about to get arrested for hate speech. Uh, while their real women are being raped in mass by Muslims, yeah, huge win. Well, yeah, he's got a point, but at least, like, you can say it's baby steps into the right direction. So, yeah. J.K. Rowling, I love it when a plan comes together. Supreme Court, women's rights. No child has caused as much thrown butthurt as J.K. Rowling. Yeah. So yeah, the author is celebrating a recent ruling from UK Supreme Court which led that trans women are not legally recognized as women under the Equality Act. She helped fund the group that brought the lawsuit. This ruling is a blow to the rights of transgender people in the UK. So, if she actually did help with that, like, hey, sometimes rich people do use their money for something good. That's all I'm gonna say about that. And then back to the old Israel Delen Daest. Israel should be destroyed. The political entity I'm talking about, of course. So here is the a tweet from Prime Minister of Israel, assuming that this isn't a Photoshop, since this is a picture. So small caveat here, but anyways, we have promoted laws in most US states which determine that strong action is to be taken against whoever tries to boycott Israel. So wait, shouldn't all countries, like how about Iran and Ireland also and Iceland, start lobbying U.S. senators and stuff that you have to support those countries and they're their best ally, and you cannot boycott them, otherwise you'll be in trouble. Like, is that how it works? Is that American democracy? You tell me. Or is it just like it's basically mafia controlling uh, politicians with blackmail money and I don't know, pressure. And yeah, happy Easter, Christianists. I can't say this word on Twitch, allegedly. Anyways, comedian, quote unquote, Sarah Silverman said, I hope the Jews kill Christ. I do it again in a second. Yeah, these are wonderful people. And yeah, Mark Levin, this guy is honored to be here for the first Jewish president of the United States.
It's an honor to be here with the first Jewish president of the United States.
I'm pointing at Trump. So, is Trump actually Jewish, or is it just like honorary or what? Well, his daughter is married to, I don't know, but that's what this guy said. I didn't say it. And okay, here is breaking news. A TikTok influencer who adopted 9 boys sentenced to 135 years of sexually abusing them. Hayim Nissim Cohen. That's a Muslim name, right? No, no, it's a Thai Buddhist name. No, no, I wonder what his ethnicity is. Anyways, was a TikTok influencer who had taken in 9 adoptive sons and documented their lives. But after one of the children called in to a random podcast telling the world that was happening off camera, causing police to arrest Cohen. Cohen, 40, was given a 40-year sentence, 4 40-year sentences and a 15-year-old sentence by District Judge Danilo Lacayo. Well, at least, you know, justice was served eventually, I guess. So that's good. I'm starting to think that anti Semitism is just a natural danger sense. No, no, no. It's crazy, crazy. That's not what it means at all, surely. And yeah, okay. Palestinian photographer Fatima Hassouna announced her documentary will be screened at France Film Festival. Within hours, Israel murdered her and her entire family of 10. That's quite heinous. So yeah, Gaza mourns beloved photojournalist Fatima Hassouna killed by Israel. Yeah, very lovely, lovely nation of Israel. Greatest ally of somebody. Breaking and Tulsi Gabbard successfully blocked the Trump administration from joining Israel in bombing Iranian nuclear site. So I guess it's related to the news about Trump refusing to attack Iran on behalf of Israel. So if Tulsi Gabbard was played a part in it, kudos to her. And okay, breaking a group of Israeli tourists were beat up by transgenders in Thailand again. Okay, I didn't notice that again. First time I read this. So first, is it transgenders or ladyboys? Are they the same, or how does it work? But somebody's here saying Israeli tourists have nothing to do with Israel-Palestine conflict, so beating up civilian is a criminal offense. Well, maybe, but I'm just wondering like what prompted these transgenders to attack the tourists. Like, did the tourists do something to aggravate them, or was it just like the transgenders noticed that, wait, those are Israelis, and attacked them? Like, what happened? Did something particular lead to this altercation? And here it says the number one cause of child deaths on Earth is this year is Israel. Read that again and again. So the number one cause of child deaths on Earth this year is Israel. So is this true? Yeah, this guy says yes, they murdered more children than any other military in recent years. So, and hey, I don't see community notes here saying it's untrue. So that must mean um, it's true, right? You know, lovely, bestest ally of both EU and America. Okay, and this, I think Free Palestine is a bad slogan. Jews love a bargain. Can't argue with that. Okay, let's move on. Uh, so yeah, Nazi flags were in hung in Sweden on, I think, on Sunday, because the birthday of the mustache man. I don't know. It's just funny that this is international news, but it's like, yeah, Nazi flags were hung at a highway entrance in Stockholm, the capital of Sweden, and it's like, you know, growing up back in the 90s, I would have found this offensive even 20 years ago, but now it's like, so what? Like, is that like, I guess you learn to see things differently. Like, maybe had they won, and I'm not saying I everything would have been great, but let's say that this side had won the war, like we wouldn't have rampant transgenderism and third world mass immigration and things. Like, there would be problems, certainly. You could argue that things would be even worse, maybe. We can't really know that, but it's like, yeah, some of the, like, many of the biggest problems we have today, they wouldn't, most likely wouldn't be a thing. So it's like, i I can't really, I can't fault people, because I'm not like a fascist or anything like that, but I do understand that why some people are leaning that way, because especially since all of the mainstream, um, let's say, mainstream talking heads, whether they are on the left or the right or the center, they are like, seething that you can be whatever you want, but just don't be a, you know, mustache man supporter or whatever. But it's like, well, these guys are the only ones who actually seem to care about, actual issues. And yeah, I'd like other people to, tackle stuff like, mass immigration, for example, because it's usually selective. Like, like, oh, I'm okay with, I just don't want Muslim mass immigration, but the other kind of mass immigration is fine. Or like, oh, I think Muslims are fine, but that's not good. Or, it's very selective without actually looking at problems rationally. And anyways, and then there's this. This is from Germany, but a German high school disciplined students for making the OK sign gesture at Auschwitz and singing "Germany for Germans, foreigners out" at Bergen-Belsen Memorial. So yeah, edgy teenagers being edgy, and it's like, I don't know. OK sign is not a, it's not a Nazi symbol or anything. At least wasn't back then. Of course, nowadays, well, anything drinking milk is white supremacy nowadays. So, yeah. But I don't know. I just I just find it heartening seeing teenagers be actually edgy and not like edgy trademark, corporate approved edgy. So that's a good thing in my opinion. And okay, next story is Zelensky refused Easter truce. Putin wanted a truce for Easter in the Ukraine war, but Zelensky didn't. So, breaking Putin declares Easter truce in Ukraine. In observation of Pasha, Russia will stop all hostilities from 6 p.m. April 19 to midnight April 21. We expect Ukraine to follow this example, Putin says. But then Ukraine has refused to agree to a ceasefire for Easter, despite Russian President Putin's call for a truce starting at 6 p.m. tonight. Okay, so Zelensky said, I have received a report from Commander in Chief Alexander Sursky. Today, our forces continued their activity on the territory of the Kursk region and are holding their positions in the Belgorod region. Our warriors have advanced. Warriors! Warriors of the world have advanced and expanded our zone of control. And yet another attempt by Putin to play with human lives. At this moment, the air raid alerts are spreading across Ukraine. At 1715 Russian attack drones were detected in our skies. Ukrainian air defense and aviations have already begun working to protect us. Shaved drones in our skies reveal, is it like shaded? I don't know. Reveal Putin's true attitude towards Easter and towards human life. So I guess he's saying that Putin is just lying and he's gonna like trying to lure them into a false sense of security. Um, I don't know. It's possible he's right, but of course, this he doesn't really care about Easter because he's not Christian or anything, unlike Putin. So and I not only like a non Christian, but he's very from what I've heard, he's very anti Christianity. At least some of his policies have been. But yeah, let's move on to the next story because the Easter is over, anyways. So yeah, Tucker Carlson interviews Conor McGregor in a Masonic temple, Masonic lodge, whatever. So yeah, here you can see the Masonic symbol, the square and compass, and checkerboard board floor. And these doors are a bit like the Yakim Boas, the pillars of Freemasonry and stuff. Yeah, here somebody says Connor is Catholic, can't be Catholic and Freemason simultaneously, so he's either a fraudulent Catholic or a Catholic put into an awkward position. Well, yeah, it's a good question. Like, which one of these is actually the Mason? Because I presume one of them at least is. And somebody saying that this is a Masonic handshake. I know they have their unique handshakes and it looks a bit unusual, but I don't know which one. I'm not an expert on that, the matter of handshakes, but yeah, there's few other stuff. So yeah, here you can see the square and compass. Well, it's very messy, but it is there clearly. You can see it here better. I don't know if you can see it on your screen, but I see it. So yeah, the Masonic square and compasses icon appears in the background of Tucker Carlson's interview with Conor McGregor in conjunction with checkered floor. And yeah, but he has said some good things. Like Conor McGregor tells Tucker Carlson that the Irish people are being genocided by mass immigration. No argument there. However, um, yeah. No, so this is just Tucker Carlson interview with Conor McGregor took place in the Grand Lodge of Ireland, the second oldest Freemasonic lodge in the world. Let's look at some of the pictures. Just fun. Is this Ghislaine Maxwell? I don't know. Looks lame. But yeah, and Conor McGregor takes clear side in Israel-Palestine conflict. So yeah, he's supposedly this nationalist guy, but he's seems to be a very staunch supporter of Israel, and I don't think that really um, works because this is like the fakeness of many of these um, talking head figures that this guy is critical of Muslim immigration, but not the actions of Israel, how they have been pushing these migrants to Europe and all that stuff, and how they also, benefit from the destabilization of the Middle East and the wars and stuff, which creates more refugees and stuff. Uh, but yeah, anyway, so just wanna make a few comments about Freemasonry, because there's of course these quote unquote conspiracy theories about them controlling the world and stuff, and I'm not saying that this is the case, but like, okay, like they did, like, I don't know how powerful they are nowadays. Maybe they're not that powerful, but at least they have fancy looking lodges still. Like, it means they have some money. I couldn't afford to rent or buy a place like this, and money equals power. But anyways, both the U.S. Independence and French Revolution, certainly they had Masonic influence behind them. Like, George Washington was a Mason, and the liberté, égalité, fraternité, the the French motto. They are both very Masonic ideology. So I'm not saying that Masons necessarily orchestrated the whole thing, but they were certainly influential in the background of these things. But like, just like, I wouldn't trust a Mason. That's, I guess, my basic argument. Like, because it's a society built on secrets. Like, you have to take the oath and do whatever it is that they will tell you, the truth of their beliefs or customs and all that stuff. So why assume that if they are openly flaunting, like, haha, we have secrets from you? Why would you assume that the secrets they have, that they're secretly working in your best interest? Like, it doesn't make any sense to assume something like that. So that's why it's like, they're probably not good guys then. Oh yeah, there's one more picture saying this is a Masonic handshake. But okay, let's finally get to gaming and entertainment news. So tomorrow 11 EST. So okay, I guess. So this is Elder Scrolls. This is like official Elder Scrolls um, Twitter account, right? So an Oblivion, the remake, remaster, whatever it is. It's, I guess, it's officially supposed to be released, but now at least here in Hong Kong is already 23rd of April. So was this game released already? Like last time, I before the stream, when I checked Twitter, I didn't see any news of it having been released. But let's assume it's been released, because I was sort of thinking that, because there've been so many rumors about it, but I hadn't heard any official confirmation that their remake even exists. But I guess I presume this is an actual, official account, or is it a late April Fool's joke? Okay, why do I have this twice here? Oops, whatever. But yeah, this guy asks the relevant question. Dominic, biggest Maximus, why aren't you working on six, bro? We don't want another remaster. Exactly. Like, I've seen so many people. Well, let's find the. Yeah, this one. The whole world thinks Oblivion Remastered will be released today. We are all waiting with bated breath. No, dude, I wasn't. Like, I can't understand why you would be like so excited over that. Like, I'm not saying if you can't be interested in the game, but it's like, either you're fan of the original, then you probably like the original already. So do you really need a remaster? And if you haven't played the original, why can't you just play the original, especially since it's gonna have all sorts of mods to make it more up to date, if you are worried that the graphics are a bit dated by today's standards, because it's like 20-year-old game. around. I don't remember the exact year it came out. Why is there a deluxe edition? They selling us horse armor exactly. Yeah, and that's another reason why this is the symbol of the force horse armors of the apocalypse. The DLC that they wanted. Was it $5 for cosmetic horse armor for your game? And dumbass gamers actually gave them the money. Apparently, it was financially feasible policy to have this horse armor, and that's why nowadays is microtransactions and crappy deals, overpriced DLC is like the standard nowadays. And Oblivion helped, usher that in. And there's this Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion Remastered size has been leaked at 120 gigabytes on Steam. So yeah, Western game dev has been here. How can you tell? 120 gigabytes. Yeah, turn 6 gigabyte game into 120 gigabytes. Like yeah, I understand that it's gonna be, it's a much newer game that is gonna, if this number is accurate, or if the remake is even an actual thing, that it's gonna take more space. But yeah, it's ridiculous. Like because you can make a great game with that takes up much less space. Like it's not that horrible, 120 gigabytes, but it's still a bit excessive. Like, does it really have to be? Because I don't know. I don't care about like the fanciest textures and all that shit myself. Like they're not focusing on actual innovative gameplay or stuff like that. They're just trying to make the, I don't know, water reflections more realistic and stuff. And it's like that's not the most important part in gaming. Or like having good AI. Like seems like game AI hasn't really improved in a couple of decades at least. And I have to show this meme. So Elder Scrolls titles released per Pope. So Pope John Paul, I think that was his name. That was, when I was a kid, he was the Pope, and he was just a Pope. He didn't have a name, he was just a Pope. Anyway, so yeah, Elder Scrolls Arena, Daggerfall, Morrowind, and then Ratzinger or Benedict, Oblivion and Skyrim, and then Francis and nada. I guess that means something. Anyways, then let's go here. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 doesn't have kids because Warhorse Studios was worried players would kill them, and Skyrim's children proved them right years ago. So yeah, leave children out of, like, what does it, how does it harm the devs if people want to kill kids in their video game? Like, shouldn't you have the option? And of course, like you should have, like, the law, the authorities or whatever, they're going to come after you if you're a child killer. They think you're horrible and all the NPCs will hate you, or if they find out, like, that would make sense. But it's like, is it like, why is it their duty? Yeah, is it morally wrong to kill children in video games, and should more games allow this? Like, it's like, well, why? Like, if you want to do that, why would you ban it? It's like, are there some laws in countries that you cannot harm children in fiction or stuff? Like, how about movies where the bad guy, terrorist or whatever, blows up a building and kids die? Is that banned too, or is it only applies to video games? How does that work? Like, I can understand that some players don't want to do it, they think it's horrible. But like, especially like if it's a Western RPG where with choices and consequences and freedom and a sandbox, whatever, then I think it should be allowed, right? Like, why handicap people like that? It's just Karen pearl clutching bullshit. Anyways, Microsoft doesn't want curvy women in video games, wants developers against certain body proportions. Are your female characters equipped with clothing and armor that fits their task? Do they have exaggerated body proportions? Well, it's weird. Like, of course, this is just the article, but like Stellar Blade character Eve, she doesn't have exaggerated body proportions because it's actually based on an actual woman's body proportions. Like, of course, she's not the most average looking woman, I guess, but it's like I don't know. I guess Microsoft doesn't really want gamers to play their games since do they have any games nowadays? Like I don't understand like why is it so difficult for these big companies to make games. Like back in the day, back in my day, like these uh, big companies they might make like mediocre games, but at least you could say that they tried and they're trying to make money at least by giving you a half-assed product. But nowadays even that is too much. They'd rather just stick to insulting you. So yeah, I can't wait for the games industry to collapse. I've been waiting for it for at least 15 years now. Unfortunately, hasn't happened yet. Anyways, Lords of the Fallen subreddit has banned the developers of the game from posting on it, citing fascist ideology from the CEO of CI Games. So yeah, Lords of the Fallen, I think is like some Dark Souls-ish game, and to be honest, I'm intrigued to trying it. Like nowadays, if somebody accuses you of being a fascist, it usually means that there's some some redeeming quality to you. Like so, yeah, they blah blah blah. Pro- So the CEO of CI Games, Marek Tymiński, is actively supporting and promoting fascist ideology under the guise of catering to the player base. As a moderation team, along with many gamers worldwide, we are deeply shocked and disgusted by the events of the past few weeks. In response, we have removed our CI Games and Hexworks officials from the moderation team. However, we want to make it clear that those removed are honorable and decent individuals and have nothing but respect. We have nothing but respect for them. Every interaction we have had with them since the game's launch has been nothing short of extraordinary. Unfortunately, this decision affects the wrong people. Our concerns are directed solely at the CEO and at this time no one else. Okay. So the CEO is fascist, but they have to remove all the other employees of the company. So yeah, I'm just wondering, like, what is the fascist crime that they have committed, that he has committed? Uh, this is the guy, Tyminsky, Marek Tyminsky. Join our, sounds like a Romulan, Marek. Anyways, join our new community-run Reddit page for Lords of the Fallen. The only subreddit we'll be supporting moving forward. Stay tuned for exclusive updates and enjoy gaming-focused discussions. No politics. The way gaming should be. Yeah, but hey, Lords of the Fallen it is probably a game worth supporting. So yeah, I will have to look into it eventually. And okay, so companies are hoping GTA 6 is $100 so they can raise their prices too. Games industry analyst says Sony raises PlayStation 5 prices in Europe, UK. Europe, UK. Are they saying that UK is not in Europe? Whatever. Last of Us complete 99.99 bucks. Mario Kart World is here 90 bucks. Yeah, so industry will reach a recession point sooner than we think. Well, yeah, I just hope that I see the industry crash. Like of course, many good people, good developers would suffer too, but it's like you can't beat Mordor without losing a few soldiers. So yeah, it's just disgusting. And anyways, character design of Oni from Bungie 2001 versus modern audience art 2025 on their website. So yeah, when is it too much? How many more franchises will suffer from this? Are you ready to defeat nostalgia, detach from your favorite franchises, and let your wallet speak for your principles? So yeah, I've never played Oni, but this is a PlayStation 2 game. At least I don't know if it came out on Xbox or something. I remember the game back in the day, and I thought like, oh, maybe I should buy it. Looks interesting, but I never got into it. But anyways, so this is it's like, fuck you, made made this anime girl into a trans whatever, basically trans ogre. Well, yeah, I guess yeah, because it's Oni. Oni is like the closest English translation from the Japanese word is ogre. So I guess it makes sense, but the point is that this one is somewhat attractive and this is not, and that's what the nude Bungie of course wants because attractive woman bad. Speaking of that, this is the female Silver Surfer in Fantastic Four. Like, of course, apparently, this female Silver Surfer character exists in the Marvel comics. I don't know. I just know that the guy. I read, some comic with Silver Surfer in it. I think back in the day when I was a kid in early '90s, and of course I know the NES game, the angry video game about Silver Surfer. But it's just like just look at her. So, because this should be very attractive, but of course in current year the body is not anything to look at. But hey, that's still current year and they seem to hate you know things that look nice. Aesthetics bad. Okay. Trails in the Sky remake confirms new English localization, promises an authentic experience that honors the original Japanese text. So yeah, Trails in the Sky from Falcom, Legend of Heroes. I'm a fan of the series. Uh, so this is good news in the sense that if because there are some of the latest um, games in the Legend of Heroes series that there have been complaints that some of the localization is woke bullshit, that they're making their own stuff up. But if they're gonna start doing proper translations, that's good. But of course, it's like, why does the game need a remake? Like, okay, the graphics are sort of like 16-bit kind of ish in the game, but hey, it's great game, great story and stuff. So I recommend just playing the original, especially looking at these graphics aren't that great. They're still like PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3 eras, sort of based on this picture. But hey, anyways, they make decent JRPGs, Falcom, so that's good. And if they're gonna start translating games properly again, that's even better. And so Ubisoft is developing a new battle royale heavily inspired by Apex Legends project named Scout. So yeah, okay, what's the big deal? Apex Legends, didn't it come out like 2018, 19, something like that? So over 5 years ago. Why are they copying Apex Legends? Like, who cares? Like, the people who like Apex Legends, they're presumably playing it or other games like that. Like, I don't know. It just seems very tone deaf to me. Tone deaf, tone deaf, whatever. I just hope for the death of Ubisoft. So if this hastens it, that's great news. And okay, here Grams is showing how advanced AI art is. Just making some basic outline stuff here, and the AI is turning it into an anime girl like that. It's pretty cool. especially for somebody like me who really sucks at drawing and stuff. So yeah, I'd be interested in trying something like that out. But anyways, then Graham says there are some artists out there that are super triggered by this post. 10 to 15 KYS messages already. Laughable fragility. Good artists won't be challenged by this as they will always be able to create unique styles and fresh looks that outpace any AI. AI is just another tool. Exactly. And I don't know. I haven't checked who these guys are, like who are selling him to KYS himself. But I'm gonna say that I question whether they're actual artists or not, or just people triggered, because that's one of my I don't know. Can I call it really a pet peeve? But something that I I tend to pay attention to, like insane. Like not insane is exaggerating, but like say sort of excessive hatred of AI. Like this comment I got to my was it last week's or some previous weeks or something, golden news. So yeah, this person is saying that thumbnail and intro picture are AI images. Please don't use generative AI as it harms the environment and steals from artists. So this is insane. Like, okay, first of all, I can understand if people don't like AI art or AI in general. Like, certainly, uh, AI has the potential to, be disastrous for mankind, but that's not simply because of the AI art, but other stuff like, maybe it's gonna do something like Terminator movies or The Matrix. Like, I don't think it's literally gonna be like that, but could be something like that. Like, who knows? Maybe AI is gonna launch some nukes at some point, or whatever, or at least gonna try. So yeah, we should be talking about the potential dangers of AI, but this particular comment is unhinged, because first it says it harms the environment. How exactly? Because it uses electricity. Well, same goes for watching YouTube and writing comments. It also uses electricity. It's the same as some of these far lefty people. They like to complain about cryptocurrency, and you can um, of course criticize crypto for various reasons, but it's bad for the environment. How? Because it uses electricity. Like, their freaking vibrators use electricity too, but they're not really concerned about them harming the environment. So this this argument, like, maybe I'm just too dumb. I don't get it. Like, how are these particular technologies like especially harmful to the environment compared to countless other technologies that use electricity? And then the other part is even more insane: steals from artists. That's very um what's the word, entitled. It's like, okay, for me, I'm a small time streamer who uploads my videos to YouTube afterwards. Like, I get few dozen views at best on my videos usually, or well, sometimes a bit more, but still, I'm a literal nobody, and I don't have the money to hire artists. And of course, like today, we can look at all these images I generated. So yeah, for a basic golden news stream I have, I generate around 10 AI images like that. And let's just imagine I hired an actual artist to make these pictures, draw them by hand or whatever is the acceptable method for these people. Like, how much would it cost? Because I wouldn't certainly have the money, and even if I had, it would take a long time. Like, I do this, um, I gather up all my news sources for the week together, on Tuesday, sometime during Tuesday, and then I generate these images based on the stories I have to suit the stories, and drawing a picture like this, it's gonna take an artist several hours at least. So it's not even feasible with art. And of course, I don't have to use AI art. I could easily just, not use any thumbnail images or these title thingies at all. But I do it because it's fun and it's not stealing from anybody, because I wouldn't be hiring anybody to do it anyways, because I don't have the money. Like, okay, get me a million followers, so I'm a freaking millionaire, and then I can hire a proper artist to do it. But of course, these people wouldn't be willing to support me anyways. But it's a very unhinged way of thinking that it steals from artists. And of course, and these people seem only care about that it supposedly harms artists. And hey, I'm not saying that it cannot harm artists, but for personally, it's not like any artists, they don't magically deserve to get higher. Like it's not like because if I were to, I don't know, let's say I drew the pictures myself instead of using AI. um, would I be stealing from an artist too, since I'm not an artist, or would I become an artist then, like if I doodle like just like I don't know. It's a really strange way of thinking. Like it's this is just a very short-sighted way of virtue signaling. Because hey, I can certainly agree that AI has the potential to be harmful, but instead of making random comments like this and trying to shame me, and this isn't the first comment I've gotten like this. Some people just, they get triggered. They see AI art and then they get triggered. And yeah, you're allowed not to like it, but it's like, is this the hill you want to die on? Like, okay, let's look at it that way, because I could understand the argument that you say that if you say that things were better before AI or AI art existed, maybe, but it's sort of like when firearms were invented, like because um, I might agree with the argument if somebody says that the world was a better place before firearms existed, and possibly yes. But like let's say your country gets rid of all the firearms, and then the neighboring country doesn't. Well, you're gonna get conquered by somebody with firearms. It's sort of like, or like let's say you have a late medieval times, you have a knight who says like, oh, firearms, oh, that's not proper fighting, I don't like that, I don't appreciate it. And then of course you get shot, and because you just have your sword, and they have a musket, and then they shoot you. So it's not like because it is a tool. And actual, there are actual artists that don't mind AI art anyway. So yeah, I don't know. Let's get back to the story. But I do find this conversation interesting, and I just want to point out that I do sympathize with some of their concerns, but I just like them to address in a actual more adult manner. Let's put it that way. But anyways, I just saw this article. I wanted to mention it. Punisher creator Mike Barron releases another racist as fuck comic book. Okay, this is from like 2022, but I just the article makes it sound so cool. Like I remember I had one Punisher comic book back in the day when I was a kid. It was decent, but I haven't really read Punisher since then. But yeah, this is just, I don't know. They just make stuff sound cooler. These clearly far leftist wackos. And yeah, speaking of Marvel, then there's this. So Marvel rivals swimsuit specialist, exactly the type of 90s unapologetic gaming that we need back in AAA so much. This is the way to do it, blah blah blah. So yeah, see, I don't think it's that good. Like personally, the art style is not so great, but hey, maybe it's just me. And I don't know. Yeah, like somebody said, why are the guys wearing speedos? Like, I don't know. It feels gay looking at these guy characters. It's like, uh, something feels wrong about it. But yeah, this guy's asking why are they wearing speedos, and yeah, sorry, these people are fat, black, or gay enough. Well, I think they look a bit too gay, like these guys. I don't know. It's still, I think it's catering too much to be, trying to be um, for all audiences. I think they, if it's superhero comic books, I think it's still, 90% of the audience, actual audience, is like, men and boys. So I don't think, many of them care about looking at pictures like this so much. But hey, you can say it's a step in the right direction. But anyways, that's basically the last story the the day of the night. So yeah, I don't know. I don't really have any closing arguments. I've rambled on long enough. So yeah, let's see who's going to be the next pope. Place your bets now, and the winner gets 5 Argonaut points. That's it. I'm Adventure Argonaut. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.